Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Writer's Underworld with myself, Richard Rose. Please like, comment, subscribe, share so we can create more excellent writers and less not so excellent writers. Today's lesson is lesson 3. It's called entertaining. What do I mean by entertaining? You could also call it audience awareness. Seems like a lot of writers think because they're alone by themselves in a dark room or wherever they are that there's no audience, but they do not have audience awareness. They have audience unawareness. What they are forgetting is a critical thing, which is why it's lesson 3. It's entertaining. They're forgetting they are an entertainer. They think, I gotta create this novel, I gotta fill the thing up with words, but they're not remembering that somebody at some point in time is going to be reading these words. And by just, they're typing about their day, they're typing about their chores and their activities. And it's like, dude, you're writing a story. You realize that something is supposed to be happening here, right? We all have chores and we all do activities. And I mean, if that's your thing, and you could be entertaining writing about your chores and activities, then by all means. But for the most part, if you're writing a vampire story and you're telling me about wandering around Guitar Center, Nestlings. I'm so mad at that book, Nestlings. Nestlings has infuriated me at an epic level. I don't think I've ever been as angry at a book as I am at Nestlings. And why? Because he's just talking about raising a baby. I got a baby. I got another baby coming. I know about raising babies. I'm trying to, there's like a vampire story here. I'm gritting my teeth and white knuckling it through this thing, and it's just so boring. And I mean, there's a lot of problems with that book. But moving back to the lesson, I mean, don't be boring. It's a sin. You are sinning against the reader, who is, for all intent and purpose, your God as a writer. You are sinning against God when you are being boring. You are an entertainer. You have to be entertaining. And for the love of the reader, just don't be boring. And there's going to be another. I don't want to spoil a future video, but there is a cause of this and a solution to this. But that would be spoiling a future video. So you got to keep the audience in mind, and you gotta not be boring, and you got to realize you are an entertainer, and everything you do with your words, the way you use your words, should be exceptional. And if it's not, you got to go back to lesson 1 and work on your words and just the way you're using words. And then we haven't even gotten into creating your stories, that comes later. But for now, we've got lesson 1 is you have to master words. Lesson 2, you got to master your identity. Lesson 3, you got to be an entertainer. Don't fail about this, because that's the difference between a good book and a bad book. Every book that was ever written, rises or falls based on entertainment value. Fiction, we don't read it to learn a skill. We read it to be entertained. It's not nonfiction. It is fiction. Maybe fiction serves a lot of purposes, but I would posit that its primary function is entertainment. I mean, how are you going to be entertaining? It depends on what you're writing. I mean, even if you're writing the saddest thing in the world, if you're doing it well, the entertainment value is in the excellence of the quality. So, the saddest thing in the world oftentimes can be extremely entertaining. You know, when something brings you to tears, like, you don't want to be brought to tears, but you know, the fact that something can do that to you, that's the entertainment value. So it's non-linear. It's not straightforward. It's not cut and dry. There's a lot of different ways to be entertaining. Everything a book can do, if it makes you laugh, it's entertaining. It makes you cry, that's entertaining. It makes you angry, that's entertaining. Even going back to Nestlings, I am so angry at Nestlings. Reading it is like burning yourself with a cigarette. But if you burn yourself with a cigarette and you kill all the nerves, after a little while, it starts to feel kind of nice. So there is an entertainment value in Nestlings, because I just hate it so much that it's actually kind of entertaining how much I hate that book. It's amusing. I can find joy in how much I dislike that thing. So, you know, in that sense, is that a success? I would say no, but it's not a complete failure, because it did. No, I don't know. Moving on. Every great book is entertaining. And think about the books that have failed. I don't want to pick on writers that are translations. I think translations fail for a different reason. But a lot of the books I couldn't really get into were translation. But I was just talking about Steinbeck, The Grapes of Wrath, with one of my friends the other day. You know, it's a funny story. I think you would appreciate that I tell this story. But I mean, I read The Grapes of Wrath. I did not finish The Grapes of Wrath because it was boring. I said, no, I can't do it. Too boring. It's just dragging on and on. Nothing happened. I'm not going to do it. And then that was a long time ago that I did not finish Grapes of Wrath. But then just the other day, my friend was talking about it. We were talking about boring books, I guess. And he said that he actually ate that book because he was in school and he had to read it. And instead of reading it each day, he would eat the book, a page of the book, or some of a page of the book. I think it was more of a symbolic thing. They had like a ceremony for eating the Grapes of Wrath, which, you know, it's a lot better than reading it, because reading it does not spark joy, but eating the Grapes of Wrath does spark joy. So that's just one book, example of a book. But of course, they shove it down our throats, which is a whole other video. Why are they? This book is boring. You know how many great books were probably written about the Great Depression? Hundreds, thousands. You know, how many amazing, entertaining, high-quality books were written about the Grapes of Wrath? But what do we get? We get Steinbeck. We get to read this boring, dragging on mess. You know? So, and where are those entertaining authors? Great Depression era authors, relative to John Steinbeck. We don't know who they are. Gone forever. And, you know, that's kind of what this channel is about those forgotten, unknown authors. And also sticking it to John Steinbeck and everybody who resembles John Steinbeck. For example, the guy who wrote Nestings, Nat Cassidy. He's just, and I don't mean this as a compliment, I mean this in the worst possible way. He's the Steinbeck of today, but that's even giving him way too much credit, because John Steinbeck wrote Of Mice and Men, which is a wonderful little story. So, you know, this is too much credit with that comparison. Anyways, I'm just trying to hammer it home that you have to think of yourself as an entertainer. You are an entertainer. And you have to always think of the audience. Every little thing you're writing, you have to, you know, if you want to have filler in your book, it better be damn good filler. In my opinion, you should probably not have filler. I get why people do it. In the beginning, I did it a lot too. And, you know, it's just because you haven't figured out how to fill up your book with your story. You haven't figured out how to get the story to the size of the book. And so you got all this filler, and filler when it's well done is great because it needs to be entertaining. And if you're entertaining with filler, then you're doing your purpose. You're serving your purpose. Filler has to be entertaining. If you're just talking about wandering around Guitar Center, I have wandered around Guitar Center. I know what it's like. You know, you're not being entertaining. I think I made my point. That's it for the video. Lesson 3, entertaining, audience awareness. Never forget you are an entertainer. It seems like you're a scribe. You're not a scribe. There is an audience. You're not alone. There is an audience. A lot of the time, this audience is me. I am the audience. I'm going to be the one reading your book, and I'm going to be judging you. And if you're boring me, you know, heaven help you, because I won't forget it. Anyways, thanks for checking out Writer's Underworld, Lesson 3, entertaining. Like, comment, share, subscribe, please, so we can help make better books in the world. Deuces.